Thanks, Jace, for the host. Hello, Jace. Oh, hello, Pao. Thank you for coming. By the way, Jace, you might have noticed that you have certain powers. So if you see anything, just ban them. Not everyone, please. Just the bad actors, okay? Happy anniversary. Thank you, Pao. Hi, Chiriak. Can you hear me all right? It is the sort of sadism. It's green. I mean, it's technically it's white, but it has a green glow, so audio levels are fine. All right, Gordon, it's now your job to place the whatever. Hi, Nola. Hello, Mr. Zeke. Hi, Paul. Thank you all for coming. That's really nice. So, since the audio levels seem to be alright. Hello, Flatkick. Hello, Syruss. Hello, SaimizZ. Everyone, please check out the Discord because SaimizZ made a really cool preview of his upcoming Half-Quake Amen music video. It looks awesome. So please check out the Half-Quake Discord. If you're not in the Half-Quake Discord, well, there is a link out there somewhere. Hello, Nikki. Do we get the Sumo's Twitch drop this time? No. Hello, Roofton. Nice to see you. Okay, so haven't enable short delay? I don't think so. Maybe I'm just slow at responding. Good afternoon. Maybe there's a bit of a delay. But it doesn't seem like it. Anyway. Okay. Well, if you can live with it, I can live with it. So let's get let's get this party started, I guess. Using the crab. Wait a minute. There's an app that's called crab. Okay. Let me. So. Hello, Mr. Kovi. Nice to see you. Kovi, I have a special question for you. How old were you when you discovered Half-Quake? It's nice. Okay, everyone. As you can see, wow, I almost fell off the sledge. I've placed a bunch of new buttons in this area. You might recognize this area from the first Half-Quake. And every time I press this button, a question will appear, because I have 10 submissions from 10 awesome people, and I'm going to answer all of them. So sit back and relax. So the problem is at the moment that my window closed. Okay, that's probably better. Anyway, do you hear some kind of music? If the music is too loud, yeah, it's just the Half-Quake trilogy music. You know, Half-Quake 1 doesn't really have faintly. Okay. Okay. Yes, my follow sound is a purr. Okay. If you want the music to be a bit louder, you I can turn it up, but I think it's alright. So, as I was saying, you had to pick up what you downloaded very carefully back then. Dial-up sucked. Yes. Dial-up is awful. I want Malastrome to be louder. Well, thank you, Mr. Kubi, for the follow, and thank you, Lilinium, for the follow. Wow, and thank you, Pavel, for the donation. And for the follow. Thank you very much. I once downloaded a 4-hour movie on a 4K dial-up modem. Okay. Let me just answer the first question. So the first question is by Jancias. Will there ever be a fourth Half-Quake? Whether mod or game, I'm very much interested in where the series could go. So Half-Quake will definitely remain a trilogy. I have some game ideas, but I can't talk about it yet. If I ever do anything that's spiritual successor to Half-Quake, I definitely don't want to announce anything too early, because you know what happened with Sunrise. Some of you probably remember that I announced it way too early. I think it was 2004, and it actually came out in 2010 or so. And I think you only make that kind of mistake once in your life, and I definitely learned my lesson. But if I actually made another Half-Quake, it would probably I would probably try to build on the story of personal Half-Quake, but I also think that it would honestly be kind of boring. So maybe it would just be completely random stuff again. I think it's sort of similar to the Cube movies. You know, the first Cube movie is actually really fun. The second tried to add some kind of story, and the third is like, okay, that's maybe a bit too much. And also, the Maze Runner series. The first Maze Runner, I think, is very awesome, and the second Maze Runner, again, tried to show the rest of the world, and then the third Maze Runner, yeah, it's just, you know, at some point, it's just too much story going on. And that's saying something coming from someone who actually loves stories in games. But I think there is something you definitely definitely can over-explain stuff, so yeah. By the way, Jancias, I wanted to mention this after the stream, near the end of the stream, but Jancias is working on a Halfquake rebirth. Like, it's a Halfquake remake for Half-Life 2, and yeah, I definitely wanted to mention this because, yeah, this is the 20th anniversary of this mod. We waited longer for Duke Nukem Forever. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, I did play it, but as you say, maybe it's a bad example. Half-Quake Tycoon. Are we still waiting for Half-Life 3? I'm not really sure. And welcome, Handy. Thank you, and very nice for you to join. That you could make it, of course. So anyway, Jancias, I hope that answers your question. Next question is... I need a quick sip. Next question is by Syruss, who is actually in the chat. What was the most pain-in-the-arse map to make in the Half-Quake trilogy? The traps definitely got more complex over time. The Somos fight, especially in Sunrise, I think is still the most complex one. Every area that Somos can shoot it in is maybe if you... I don't know, I think there is an image that I posted somewhere, a screenshot. There's definitely every square meter on the floor is a separate trigger. So every time you take another step, you step into another trigger multiple. And then Somos knows where to shoot, so the whole area is filled with triggers. And each trigger has, you know, a multi-manager and whatever. The Somos fight was also initially only one map, but you know, there were certain entity limits, and I had to slice the one map into several individual maps, and I had to mask all the loadings and make sure that Somos looks the same and acts the same in each level. So I had to copy and paste him into, I think there are 5 maps in total. So I had to group all of the entities of Somos, and Somos has this, you know, this audio thing that, you know, he has to say something, but then he doesn't have to repeat it immediately, and there is a whole trigger for this going on, and that also had to copy and paste it everywhere. Yeah. And I also had to bring in all the old areas and the old textures and sounds. So yeah, definitely the Somos fight, the last one in Sunrise, was definitely the most complex one. Apart from that, the tower defense trap was really a pain because it took a lot of time to test, and of course the patience level. Because every time I wanted to see the end of the patience level, I had to wait 20 minutes. You know, I didn't know about the speed up trick that you could do back then. But yeah. But since we are talking about the first Half-Quake today, most traps were actually pretty straightforward in terms of mapping. I think the most complex one is the buttons map, where the same level changes every time you trigger something. And that's the question for Syruss. Almost sounds like it was a boss fight on the developments. Yeah, definitely. It took a long time. Also, the Somos fight was in Sunrise was the moment where I got the inflammation in both hands. So maybe I did overwork myself a little bit with this one. And when I think it took 4 weeks or more to finally get back into mapping. And then I started to make 1 area per day. It was a slow process. There's a speed up trick. Well, it's the cheat. I'm not really sure what it's called right now, but you can enter a cheat into Half-Life, and then basically Half-Life itself runs at an insanely fast speed. I think maybe Nikki Wawa knows it and can post it. Source engine is a pain. Well, yeah. That is true dedication to your art. Well, some would call it dedication, some would call it insanity, I guess. Just use Carve. Mr. Seki Blostein, I have some very serious words for you. If you ever use Carve, you're banned. No, it's fine. Yeah, Nikki, do you remember the I think it was you who once used the cheat code to speed up the Half-Life engine. I know, Mr. Seki. I'm just joking around. Yeah, he knows, right? Okay. Let's check the name. Alright, next question is by Maximiliano Garland Sid. By the way, Garland, Maximilian. Garland. I have a real life acquaintance who's called Garland. Max, I didn't use the thingy on the A for Half-Life because Half-Life doesn't display them correctly. Anyway, Max says, what's your best experience while creating games? And also, are you still planning to do more content that doesn't relate to music or video games? For example, a book. To me, the best experience you can have is when you see people enjoying things that you create. And there's a special history with Half-Quake about this because it obviously started more like a joke or troll mod to see how annoying I can get for my friends. So every time I had a new build, I would send it to my friends and they would send me hilarious reactions back, and that's more or less why we started making Half-Quake. But yeah, to see people actually like it was actually a huge surprise for me, especially after Amen. But with Katie and Betty, I've heard people play it with their children actually, or with their partners, and they also had a good time. So yeah, again, that is the best experience you can get when creating things. Since you mentioned the book specifically, I definitely want to do another book because I've had an idea for a while to make a book with a bunch of short stories. I've written a bunch of short stories in the past, and I definitely want to write new ones and then fill a book with them. I've also been thinking about doing sequels to Antron's Journal and Walter Steel, but I'm not sure that those would work very well. In terms of short stories, my heroes in this regard are Ephraim Kishon and Roald Dahl. So if you want to know where my humor comes from, definitely read one of the Ephraim Kishon books. That's the one that I grew up with. I think I read his books when I was 12 or 13 years old, and definitely inspired me. And of course, I want to make more comics in the future. It's water time. Power says, I really love the width of the things you make. Do you mean... can you elaborate on that? The phrase when I had to play Cat and Betty myself. Sorry, the feeling when. Yes, I'm so sorry. We should make a community-driven short story anthology. I actually was part of two collection of short stories and it was always really interesting. So yeah, maybe that's something we can do. Your voice makes something resonate somewhere in my apartment. Okay, maybe I need to maybe I need to talk like PewDiePie. What is your personal favorite song from the Half-Quake series? By the way, hi Linksness. My favorite song from the Half-Quake series. Let's see. I'll drink some water before I answer that. Please don't be forward. My favorite song is... Oh, that's hard. I think Pestilence. I just say Pestilence. I think that was a cool one. What's Pestilence? I'm not sure. Beautiful Crazy is a cool one. That turned out really well. I would pay 20 euro for audiobooks narrated by you. Thank you, Izzy Exe, for the follow. I mean how different the genres are between things like Half-Quake and Cat and Betty and Personal Half-Quake, but also different styles in the music and art, the breadth of different expressions the artists. Oh, yeah, well, thank you. Underneath it all, I think it's all the same, but don't tell anyone. No, I don't know. Anyway, is this? Yeah, this one's done. Next question is by Andy. Do you still look for inspiration in your old works and music? The Half-Quake soundtrack, Task a Sheep and Fallen Sheep looped on repeat in my 2000s and I still like them a lot. First of all, thank you, Andy. I'm really glad you like them. I think every time I finish something, I have some time to reflect and look back, and especially recently when I finished Cat and Betty, there was a bit of a downtime afterwards. And I released Fallen Sheep on Spotify, and I actually listened to it quite a bit during the time. And it always feels like, oh yeah, back then I did this kind of effect and so on. So it does inspire me to try something similar again, but somehow approach it from a different angle. I think looking back too much can also be a trap. You may start to repeat yourself or maybe even stop moving forward with your style. And sometimes I force myself to stop listening to older songs because I don't want them in my head when I make new stuff. Like in 2019, while I made songs for A Light Long Gone, so I definitely have some phases where I don't look at or listen to old stuff. Also sometimes it's because it's a bit dangerous, because it can feel like the old stuff is better. I think a huge reason for that is nostalgia. Or because I've read a lot of comments about it that were positive, and then you make new stuff, and then it's like, will this also get new comments? But in the end, probably doesn't matter, or it shouldn't matter. But yeah. There was one specific moment that I remember very fondly, when people asked what's the best Mothership song, and one person said Killing Stones. Yeah. It can definitely negatively influence you when you try to move forward with in some ways. I'm not saying Killing Stones is bad, it's it's just very old, and then you wonder, okay, do I keep making these things, or do I just re-release Killing Stones? In general, though, when I'm stuck with something or quote-unquote writer's block, I definitely sometimes look back and see how I solve different or similar problems, and that helps sometimes actually. Fallen Sheep was 10 out of 10. Proudly display both CDs on my shelf. You have a CD of Fallen Sheep? Just make music you feel like making. Yeah, I think I'm doing that, and I think also that making A Light Long Gone really helped me again to realize that. But yeah. we don't talk about that, Mr. Seki Blowstone. We don't talk about that. Anyway. Next question. Let's see if I can make the jump. Okay. Next question is by Bowfry Frenchtie. Half-Quake is so utterly unique in the realm of Half-Life mods, especially for how soon it was released after the original game. Where did you get the idea for it, and what was your original vision? Thank you, a mystery, for following. So my friend Blackjack told me about this movie Cube while we were sitting in a LAN party, as one did back in the days. And in Cube, the idea that really fascinated me was that each room had a different trap. So, and I also played Quake around at the same time, and I found the sadistic levels quite appealing. You know, there's a level where you have to run really fast and the floor is slowly moving away under you. Or another scene in Quake was when you see a key right before you and you have to be really fast. And normally, as a regular player, I would say, you never get the key. So it always slips right in front of you as you make it. Of course, speedrunners get the key, but that's not the point. So yeah, I said, why not mix these elements with Half-Life, so Quake and Cube. And I actually made a first map during one of the LAN parties and showed it to my friends, and yeah, we all thought it looked really fun. That was actually the first map of Half-Quake, and I probably should look around. Back in the days, usually I made multiplayer deathmatch maps actually, and Counter-Strike maps. So, and only sometimes I would do single-player maps. So this was a bit of a new adventure. As for the sadism idea for Half-Quake, I think I was also inspired by Marilyn Manson a little bit. I know Marilyn Manson is a bit cancelled today nowadays for good reasons, I would say. But back then, yeah, especially the book The Long Hard Road Out of Hell, I don't know if I should recommend it, but yeah, it was a good book back then, as a teenager, in 1998. Another huge inspiration was American McGee's Alice, and especially for this area. That was right around the time that I played it. And yeah, other single player mods at the time, which I get to later, I think. Yeah, Handy, I wanted to agree with you. Music is definitely live. Fallen Sheep, yeah, I burned it for the car. The both part I had confused with Task Sheep. Ah, okay. I honestly like almost all of the music, both the old and new. So I'm very happy. Thank you, Pao. That makes me happy too. Do you even get tired of explaining the history behind Half-Quake after all these years? I don't get tired of it. because it helps me reflect and see how old I am. The book is still good. I read it as a 20-something in the 2010s. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting book. Definitely interesting. A mystery says, does the ending of the third Half-Quake chapter actually mean anything, or was it just for fun? I mean, there's not really any meaning that could be, I don't know, interpreted or anything. So it really is just, you know, you die and then you slowly, I mean, you kill Somos and then you slowly die in there and you can't escape. The ending of Sunrise is basically when Blackjack and when I visited Blackjack and he was done eating his pizza and I was like, you know, I have an idea for Halfquake Sunrise, the ending. You know how we have all these holes that the player can fall into? What if at the end you actually fall into one and then you have to die slowly? You know, that's really fun. Not. Anyway, next question. I'm surprised I haven't fallen down yet. Next question is by the Heavy Norris. Why were the Halfquake sequels created with a black and white grayscale art style instead of matching the original or something more traditional like Half-Life? So, interestingly, in my personal opinion, Halfquake, even the first one, doesn't really, I mean, it has some Half-Life aesthetics right in the beginning or some Quake aesthetics, but to me it gets, I know personally that it gets slightly more grayscale as it progresses, so sure there's still some brown here and some red and, you know, this weird greenish color. I don't know why I chose that color, but yeah, and some yellow buttons. But you know, even the sky is grayscale, and that used to be the Zen skybox with a bunch of green colors, and so yeah, it definitely is slowly turning into less colors. Hold on 1 second. What is the wow about? And oh no, I missed it. Anyway, if you actually go through this portal in the game, and then you land in the Somos room, and then I don't know if you remember this, but there's a station where you can recharge your health and your suit, and it only says body and suit in white text on a black background, so that already foreshadows Halfquake Amen a little bit, if you ask me. And yeah, as to why I did it, I don't know. I just really like crazy mods that didn't look like Half-Life, and I also enjoyed seeing what else you could do with the engine. So I loved playing with people's expectations, and like, oh, it's a Half-Life mod, but why are there a dozen turrets in this one room? So yeah, that is probably the main reason why I think Halfquake in general is, yeah, slowly getting more grayscale and the reason behind it. The suits were made of plastic. They don't protect you from anything. It only makes you feel confident. I love the skybox. It screams for depression and solitude. I agree. It probably was already answered, but why does the HQ icon look like this? Do you mean the evil smiley? Because the evil smiley was the main emoticon, quote unquote, it wasn't really an emoticon, that Blackjack and I used when we talked to each other over the internet. So I'm not really sure who who came up with it first or who used it first. I don't know if you can actually come up with that, but yeah, that's what we always used when talking to each other, the evil smiley, and then we used it in Halfquake everywhere. A contemporary Halfquake would look like Cruel Discord. Oh no. And have the world geometry of Antichamber and be in virtual reality with pain creating suit. Alright. I have not played Cruel Discord yet, but I have seen videos. And it is definitely interesting, so. Unlike Antichamber. SaimizZ says they're just there to make you feel confident, yes. Andy says the color effects, the white beams and the music levels blew my mind back then, as it was so different from other mods and the original Half-Life. Yeah, I like trying different things. That's as much as I can say about this. So, next question. See if you can make it and not fall down. Yeah, mod was basically Kaizo before Kaizo Mario became a thing. Yeah, I've seen that comment before somewhere, I don't know. SaimizZ. He asks, what was the inspirational thought process behind the aesthetic change from Half-Quake to Halfquake Amen? So this is sort of a similar question, but I think it comes from a different angle. The Heavy Norris more asked like, why is it not like Half-Life? And SaimizZ more asked like, what was the main thing that drove Halfquake to Halfquake Amen? So I always say the most significant inspiration for Halfquake Amen was a dream. And I was floating towards 3 white dots in complete darkness, and they turned out to be 3 figures in the dark. And I woke up and made a quick sketch about it, and that was basically the intro. And I remember we were always thinking about how to troll the player next. So having a pitch black screen was the only logical next step. So it's like, if you look at the old text files, it's like, and then the player doesn't see anything and the other one is saying, and then, yeah, so you could barely see the letter field and you have to walk towards it, and yeah, that basically set the stage for the rest of the game, if you ask me. I also did a test between Halfquake and Halfquake Amen with a huge map where the ground texture was increased by about, I don't know, 200% or more. And that was a technique to reduce R speeds, or the amount of polygons on screen. So you could actually make a really huge area in Half-Life. And yeah, the fact it was also inspired by the Counter-Strike maps that did the same back then. I don't know if you guys remember the huge Counter-Strike maps where you feel really small. So yeah, that huge area also inspired a lot of Halfquake Amen, like for example the ambience map, and I think it was the third trap that you see, where you have to walk really long and then press the buttons, the 4 buttons on the sides. And yeah, as I said earlier, I was always sending out test builds to my friends, and I just loved playing with them and see the reaction. So I remember one friend specifically always was like, "You say this," and then he also always said, "People are really going to like this." And I was like, okay, so I guess I keep making this, or. And another huge inspiration was the training level for System Shock 2, actually, because it had a very similar black and white grid aesthetic, which was, yeah, as I said, really inspiring. Okay, that makes so much okay. Do you remember that I wanna be the guy that was modded into Half-Quake? My broken keyboard remembers. No, I actually don't remember that. That makes so much sense that it was a dream. Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but it was definitely what set this all in motion. This track on the background is always in my head in a good meaning. I think we are past the track already, but has any QA tester for Half-Quake ever said, this is too easy, make it harder? Well, actually, I think that one person did, and I also really clearly remember when I played the final boss for Halfquake Amen to my friend Blackjack. I basically finished it, and he was like, "That's it," and I said, "Okay, I will add more stuff." And I think that's when I added the buttons on the head thingies on the top, and I think I added some stuff on the floor and things like that. But other than that, I don't remember much about people telling me it's too easy. I think some concerns came up in Sunrise when the difficulty was a bit all over the place. So one trap was like super hard, the next was super easy and stuff like that. But I think I didn't adjust that much because I also thought that if it's too hard all the time, yeah, it can be a bit. But we don't talk about Sunrise now. So the red maps. The Reds map, but definitely the thing back then. Yeah, Reds. Exactly, that was what they were called. I also really liked them. Will there be a Half-Quake themed Reds map? Linksness, Half-Quake 4 is not going to happen. It's I'm really sorry. It was actually the first question of the stream, so maybe you can rewind later or something like that. A mystery asks, also Somos seems like it has so much lore behind its changes, but does it really? So again, there is really not much meaning behind the changes for Somos and stuff like that. Somos just evolved over time. I think the first Somos was just, hey, I can make a stationary robot kind of thing, and it doesn't look that much like crap. There was actually a first version of the Half-Quake, of the first boss, and it really looked like the... Do you remember Spaceballs? In Spaceballs, there was this huge machine that sucked the air out of the Earth. And I think the first version of Somos looked like this, and I changed it so it looked a bit more like a robot, I guess. The Somos in Halfquake Amen, yeah, I just liked wings and stuff, and the top hat, and it was maybe a bit Alice inspired, I'm not sure. And yeah, the third Somos is a bit inspired by a fan art from Posby, where Somos was made up of all the tiny cubes, and I really liked that, so I used that for the teleportation animation. Yeah, there's not really much lore behind it other than he's, invincible and actually I wanted to make his voice in the third iteration also a bit more robotic, and then I sent the voice lines to my Hillard, and he did such a good job that I didn't want to alter them that much. So he does sound a bit less robotic, but in the Halfquake comics he was also talking normally most of the time, so I was like, you know what, a robot can talk normal, in a normal voice, why not? It's fine. So, no serious QA testers, yeah. Danyliuk says, this is too hard, make it nearly impossible. Yeah, again, I'm not sure anyone ever said that. Mr. Sick plus then you got in trouble when in high school when you quoted the Sumo song. Oh my god. I remember that bloody moving platform maze thing. At least no one picked on me after for the fear of the kid with way too much interest in chemistry. Well, that's a good way to avoid bullies, I guess. Half-Quake the pre-sequel. No. None of that. You will have to make your own Half-Quake 4. Okay? Obviously, but I had to do with meme. Ah, okay, Linksness. Ah, I see what you did there. Maybe the real Half-Quake 4 is the friends. Okay, listen to this, everyone. Maybe the real Half-Quake 4 is the friends we made along the way. Basically, I can't end the stream right there. Thank you, Link XS. that was beautiful. It's almost the beginnings, part of the Half-Quake cinematic universe. Oh my god. No cinematic universe, please no. Now a nice can of Perrier. Spaceballs was such a good movie. Vladkik says, what kind of music have you been listening to lately, or maybe even inspired by? So one of my recent obsessions is Lorne, and I don't remember how to say this name. Let me Google real quick. Ah yeah. This guy. It's really nice. Oh, thanks, Jace. Mr. Sega Bluestein says, Sunrise probably had the most hard passes from the gameplay perspectives, but they felt the most fair. Sounds good to me. Jigalak asks, how is the style of music you're making called? From early works to the latest. So I did look into this like a few years ago, and it's very similar to down tempo and chill. So that's actually the categories that I would assume should be associated with my music. So I looked at artists that I'm influenced by, like Beck and Depeche Mode and stuff like that, and yeah, they all work in the sort of same category, and I said, yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah. All right. Next question. I think we're making good progress. Okay, this one is hard. I have to concentrate. Shit. By the way, if you noticed, I removed the death trigger. Alright. See, it's not so hard. Half-Quake is for everyone. You're welcome, Kobe. Devs playing their own games. Well, devs playing their own games while streaming, I would say. No, I'm just kidding. I'm, you know, it's been 20 years. Give me some slack. Anyway. Diana asks, how did you come up with the Halfquake universe? Do you guys want to keep spinning like this, or? Yeah, let me just reset. Actually, for Q&A stream. Alright. Okay, this doesn't make any better. This is a nice spot. Alright, Diana asked, how did you come up with the Halfquake universe? So, I want to say when starting out, there was really no story or universe behind it. Really just Cube, Quake, and Half-Life, you know. There was a game called MDK in 1997, and there was one scene where you have to jump up a few very hard to reach platforms, and there was a floating audience next to you that laughed at you when you failed. And it was, I think, I never really thought directly about it, but I think it subconsciously inspired me to make a lot of what Halfquake is. I don't know if you guys remember this game called MDK. It was a third-person game that really had a lot of dark and awesome humor. So yeah, in Halfquake, a victim gets sent through traps and spectators. As spectators have fun watching, and you're definitely not the hero here. But I would say that the idea that people get sent there to die because they deserve it for some reason was the brainchild of a teenager who had problems with authority, I believe. So I wouldn't really look that much into the meaning of Halfquake. I only really started adding background story when I made Personal Halfquake and the Halfquake Amen comics. It's really the first time I actually thought about story. I know that there is a diary in Halfquake Amen, but it's not really... I don't think it... Yeah, I guess it could be called lore. But the diary in Halfquake Amen was more... yeah, there was a person before you, and he turned into a sort of super victim that bites you. I don't think that really counts as universe building, but yeah. I want to say Jacielak actually really made a universe out of it when he made his game called Variable Entertainment, and it actually inspired me a lot. So, especially in terms of what Halfquake could have been, if I thought more about it in terms of as a cinematic universe or something like that. Jace, maybe it was MDK2. I don't really know. Stop promoting Variable. No, I'm just saying. It was really cool. All right. By the way, I wanted to place the red here from the, you know, from the earlier parts of this mod, but since the gravity is floating, is pushing upwards all the time, the red was definitely not happy with this, and it would zigzag left and right and up and down all the time, so I had to remove it. But imagine there is the red here. Next question. Next question is by Nome. What were your biggest inspirations, if any, in the Half-Life modding universe for Halfquake? Let me get a sip of water. Yeah, you definitely need to play Variable, because There even is a sprint button. That was just eaten by someone who had to eat it to survive. Yeah. Anyway, to answer Nome's question about the biggest inspiration in the Half-Life modding scene. The first one that came to mind was Pieces Like Us by Komi Sato. There was this sort of dreamlike sequence where it was a bit Tron inspired, but I didn't know Tron back then. I know, shame on me. And that was really a very cool moment where I realized, okay, Half-Life can be a lot more than just Half-Life. So I also really liked ETC, Earthquake Test Center by Dave Johnston. Dave is the guy who made the Dust. And it was a huge inspiration for me from a technical side. He also wrote an article called 51 Half-Life Editing Tips, which I back then even printed out, and I read it several times. And some of the tips I remember to this day. So you can thank the creator of the Dust for some of the things that I did. I also really liked Gunman Chronicles. Again, it showed me what Half-Life could also look like. And yeah, USS Darkstar was also really one of the best. The Hangar was probably also an inspiration, but I never really got into it. I think I played only the first part, but not even finished it. I don't remember much else, to be honest. I played a lot of single-player maps, sometimes even ran around alone in multiplayer maps to see what they did with the engine, and then I would try to replicate stuff in my own small maps. Overall, I would say Half-Quake was probably my third or fourth attempt at making a single-player campaign. The others always failed because of some weird errors that I couldn't work around, like once I had some floating corpses from alien slaves from the previous maps, and I didn't really know how to fix that, so yeah. How did you come up with the evil smiley? Well, that's easily explained. Normally you have, if you want to do an evil smiley, it's like this, and Blackjack and I basically just abbreviated it to this, and then we also really like to draw them from the other side, so that's the evil smiley. Did you ever get into Quake mods custom maps? No, actually I did not. I don't know why. I was just stuck with Half-Life, I guess. Alright. I think this is the last question. Yes. Okay, last question. The last question is by moonlyer. Maybe a weird question, but still, as a creator, how has your perception of Half-Quake changed after 20 years? Does it feel raw and edgy or warm and nostalgic? Do you have a feel for this universe in the present? So this was a really fun question because I thought yesterday evening I was more or less done with this map, but then moonlyer sent me this question and I sat there and I was like, okay, that's a that's a big question actually, because yeah, it's definitely not a weird question at all because I think about this a lot. It definitely was more like a joke back then when I started, but nowadays I feel a bit more uneasy about some topics that I'm using here. An example, torturing victims. I mean, it sounds fun and all, and it's kind of similar to, you know, Dungeon Keeper and stuff like that. But as obviously I still like dark art and horror and stuff like that, but it always depends on context. And I think why I feel a bit different about this was that one call from a salesman that I got after Halfquake Amen was in this Austrian contest, and the salesman really grilled me about the usage of sadism and if I even know what sadism is and stuff like that. So this was a bit of a wake-up call, because I used a lot of topics and themes that in a jokish manner, and I didn't really know the true meanings behind a lot of things. So, you know, I was a teenager. And I also, for some reason, I also see some people take it a bit more serious than I think it should be taken, and that also feels weird, especially when dealing with these certain topics. And I grew up reading satire and black humor comics, so that's what Halfquake still represents to me. Again, it's always about context. Interestingly, I remember the state of mind that I was in for a lot of the traps and moments. Like, for example, this area. I really vividly remember making it and remember why I chose to do it this way. It was definitely inspired by American McKee's Alice. And yeah, I can probably tell you the moment I made it for pretty much every area. So it feels very nostalgic for me. It's a bit more, it's a bit like a digital diary for me, or a museum of memories for me personally. Yeah, Sunrise is of course a bit fresher in my mind, since it was only 10 years ago, but it also feels very heavy to me because it was such a difficult project. You know, I had to start over, I think, like 2 or 3 times or more. And compared to this, Halfquake 1 and Halfquake 2 were pretty straightforward. And the biggest feel that I have about Halfquake in the present is that it will probably always be something that new games of mine will be compared to. So there's no way around this. So I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, but it is a thing. So that is the feel about Halfquake. I know it's not really about the universe, but again, as I said earlier, the universe, for me, there's not really a Halfquake universe in that regard, but yeah. SaimizZ uses it as a decal in the Diabotical. What's that? MS, what do you think about Adventure Game Studio? I had experience working with it, and it is very simple and fun to make old school point and click adventure games like 7 Max hit the road. Again, I don't know this Adventure Game Studio, but every piece of software that lets you create games is good software in my eyes, because as you see, I made Halfquake and it was just the tools that Valve decided to provide the community. And yeah, it's awesome when you can make games without coding and stuff like that. Of course, sometimes in Sunrise I wish I would have been able to code some stuff, but on the other side, I'm also happy that I didn't code anything for Halfquake, because to me, making a map is somehow relaxing, and coding is not relaxing at all. Coding is always a bit stressful, which I noticed when making Catty Betty. Yeah, fuck that salesman. I agree. I don't know if I can say this word here, but who cares? Pao says, I have heard that if you never feel a bit cringe over some things you have done, it only means you have not grown as a person. That's probably true, yes. That is it's just a difficult topic, because Of course, it has been 20 years, but on the other hand, it still sometimes feels like yesterday, and that is the strangest thing of everything. But yeah. Suits in the RPG Maker game reminds me of Half-Quake for some reason, other than it being grayscale. Okay. Just because the truth is worse than anyone can imagine does not mean that some more lighthearted stuff can be made. Again, it's a difficult topic. It's a difficult topic. I'm sure many of us have seen many horrible things and maybe even been in those situations. Yes. That I definitely think so as well. Only 10 years. Yeah, I don't know, Jiggalug, I don't know. I don't know what's happened, but here we are. Context sure is important, and I think the people in charge of the institutes have never been made out to be good people or heroes, and that is significant, I believe. Yes, that's definitely, that's correct, yes. That's the problem I have. If you take the context away from Half-Quake, then you get in some serious troubles. But, you know, it is supposed to be a troll, and it is supposed to annoy people playing it. And that is what it's doing. And that is the purpose of it. A mystery says, wait, was Half-Quake one of your first serious projects to work on? I did make some Counter-Strike maps before this that I uploaded to certain Counter-Strike maps websites back then. But I think one of the Counter-Strike maps that got copied around without me knowing was CS Castle. It was basically just a castle map. But yeah, Half-Quake was my first serious, again serious, project that I worked on. And I finished and I released. Diabolic is an arena shooter, okay. It's blobby heads. Ah, okay, you can customize the faces and anything, cool. I never saw them as good. If anything, Half-Quake is a meditation on a feeling of utter futility and the human spirit to persevere and push against all odds, even if it... Yeah, so there is a bit of a background to this because I have... I'm not sure if I should actually say this, but who cares? I do have some experience with being bullied in the past. Both in... I should say both in family and other people. So I think Half-Quake is also a reflection of that. Mapping is very relaxing for sure, yes. Coding is not relaxing. Thank you. I hate coding with all the atoms in my body and try not to touch it as much as I can, like a cat that bird showers. Well, I actually, this is a difficult question again because I actually like coding sometimes. But if I had to compare it to writing or making music or making a map or whatever, I think it uses a different part of the brain or something like that. Because, yeah, coding is like, it can be really rewarding when finally something works as you intended it to. But getting there is just, yeah, it's just a different mindset, I think. Whereas if you work something with purely visual stuff, then which is why for Katie and Betty I actually made I purposefully made it so that I could make every map directly in the editor. I could have made it different, like, I don't know, make it all hardcore or something like that, but I made sure that everything, each map could be laid out directly in the editor. I didn't have to worry about coding for this part. So yeah. I'm happy to hear the live voice of my favorite Austrian. Thanks again for adding, and that Wiener coffee was awesome. Does that mean you have to go? I have several chronic issues and stuff, and I have to fight the future fight every day just to survive, and I do identify with Half-Quake from that perspective as well. I just know I need to keep on going one step at a time. That is correct, Power. Do you still play video games from time to time? Yes. Recently, my biggest addiction was Monster Train. You definitely have to check that out. By the way, there's a giveaway coming up, so don't leave yet. It's weird how so many people are connected to Half-Quake despite the game being very cruel. Maybe we all have some similar issues or things that we have to overcome or had to overcome in real life, and that is where Half-Quake comes in. I don't know, maybe this is the thing that connects people. Yes, Power. Same for me. I mean, seeing all of you here is and just because of what I made back then, it's just really cool, really, I would say, wholesome. Danyliuk asks, how do you drink your coffee? I make filtered coffee. I drink 3 cups a day because at the 4th cup I get my heart races too fast and I can't sleep. And I only drink a little bit of milk. Does this answer your question? I like coffee. Why mother sheep? You have a lot of sheep involvement in your creations. Sorry for only making questions. A mystery, that's why I'm here. So, mother sheep is based on the word mothership. And I looked it up back then when I needed a new nickname. And I found mothership in the dictionary. And I thought, yeah, maybe I can change it around a little bit. So I changed it to a mother sheep. A free copy of Half-Quake Trilogy for a random viewer. Yes. No, Jace. I think it can be the same reason as why people who are poor tend to be more eager to help each other. We who know suffering feel like we should band together. Yes, exactly. Okay. Are you ready for the giveaway? I need everyone to be ready to enter something into the chat. Okay. I assume you're all ready. So I'm giving away, since this is the 20th anniversary of Half-Quake, I'm giving away a huge, I would say, mother sheep, whatever. And it includes a Half-Quake shirt, a copy of All the Steel, a copy of Anton's Journal, a copy of Nome, a copy of Rotten Melody, a copy of A Light Long Gone, a Transcapism USB, Imhotep versus Mothership CD, and the Katy and Betty Steam Key. So the giveaway starts now, and all you have to do is enter an evil spider into the chat for the next few seconds. Starting now. Like this. Hello, Ivory Ocean. You just appeared in the during the giveaway. So if everyone is, I give it a few more seconds. You still have time to add an evil smile into the chat. And no more spam. Hello Nanchi. You just made it in time to win something, hopefully, maybe. Imagine if you just stream it everybody just. Okay. Okay, I will now announce the winner. Are you ready? And the winner is Mr. Seke Blostein. Congratulations, my friend. Exit the use price. Are there other ways to acquire a shirt? Yes, there's a store on the farm. I should have changed it to sub mod only chat. Now MS will get to live in Artenia. Yeah. I was not didn't answer. Can we still buy the dead pixel pad? I think it's still there, yes. Why not make it into a real Windows app? Are you talking about personal Half-Quake? So, I just want to say, thank you all for playing Half-Quake. It's been 20 years. That's very surreal. And I also want to thank my patrons. And I'm going to say all of the names now because they pay me. And that's Futeko, Snowfeather, Nola, Handy, LILmighty, Jace, Alexis, Clay, Paul Ekdine, Pao, Sebastian, Jace, Andrey, AxelhacK, deliriumstalker, Lexi, Neoviper, Malastrome, Szaladin, moonlyer, LupusRex, funnycreature, Michael Hillard, MGC, Syruss, Jancias, Valentine, Clay, Cashafilm, Coda, Excel, s.Jane, Jesse Mike, Oleg, Barry CR, Pavel, Nanchi, Nome, Nana, Lizreux, Linksness, and finally SaimizZ. Thank you, everyone. Kitty Kai. Hello, Kitty Kai. It's been a while. Ivory Ocean says, I'm going to be lurking since I'm still at work. I wish you could stream, Mana. Thank you for Half-Quake. Thank you for coming to the stream, Ivory Ocean. Everyone click on Ivory Ocean's name and follow her channel. She's a really cool artist. And she does regular Twitch streams. Alright, again, thank you everyone for playing Half-Quake. And, you know, I wouldn't be here without all of you. And of course, the next stream is in September 2022, when Halfquake Amen turns 20. And I will probably do something similar to as today, but we will see. Stream. I hope there will be a video of this. Yes, definitely. Amen walkthrough would be cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's too much work. Anyway, thank you all again and have a nice day, and thank you all for watching the stream. It was very, very fun. It was really cool. Thank you all for coming. Alright, see you.